Jarrett was very influential in shaping the president's policy and helping to execute it, and also trying to get members of Congress on board to get those legislative wins for the Obama administration. I had the chance to talk with her. She just happened to be walking in the crowd, and I asked her a couple of questions about what she thought about the demonstration today and what she thinks needs to be the strategy going forward for these young people. Take a listen. So, Ms. Jarrett, there's a large turnout of people here today. What's going through your mind right now?
I am so excited about the opportunity for real change that's being driven by young people. Let's face it, the country belongs to them, and they feel empowered to make a difference. And they're taking what was a devastating, tragic event, and they're ensuring that it doesn't happen to other people. So I really came down here today just to support them. They're the leaders of this movement, and we're just here to show our appreciation and support. And the fact that it's happening not just in D.C., the nation's capital, but all across our country, where people are actively engaged. And I always say our government is only as good as the citizens insist that it be. And to see the power that they have, I think, is going to extinguish the power that the NRA has. And the NRA has been lining the pockets of members of Congress for far too long, and they feel beholden to the NRA. They should feel beholden to these people.
President Obama said he was really excited to see young people start to take an active part in their government. What would be your advice to these young people as they continue to push forward for legislation? What should they do even after the march today?
Well, first of all, they are the experts. They have figured out social media, and I think the one thing I say to them is get a good night's sleep. This is a long, long haul. One of them said we're at the beginning of a marathon, and that is exactly right. And it's going to get tough, and they're going to have setbacks along the way, and they just have to remember that this is a long haul and to just not give up, to never give up. I say that change always seems impossible until it's inevitable.
What's interesting is that it was one of the things that we've talked about, that this movement seemed a lot different from years past and incidents past, because these young people seem energized and fired up in ways that we hadn't seen before. We had Columbine, we had Sandy Hook, we had Virginia Tech, and we hadn't seen this type of movement and this energy trying to motivate lawmakers to do something differently here on Capitol Hill. These kids say that they're not going to back down, they're going to stay in the fight for as long as it takes. I want to add to one point that was mentioned earlier. You guys talked about teachers in the classrooms, and it was interesting. I talked to one teacher from Montgomery County. She teaches at a middle school there. She told me, she said, look, for her it's a sad state of affairs that she has to have these conversations with her young students in middle school about gun violence. She says, look, it's not anything that she prepared for. It wasn't anything that she trained for as an educator, that she went to school to try to teach kids and to better their lives. The last thing that she wanted to do was to have to worry about an armed gunman coming into a classroom and start firing at children as well as adults. She said, you know, she's excited and happy that the county is taking action to try to educate educators as well as families about preventative measures, but she hopes that there's real change here on Washington to help curb the rate of violence that we've seen around the country.